What's going on? We're back. We had some technical difficulties. Now, I'm not blaming my 1-year-old daughter, but I'm not saying it wasn't her. We're back with the week 4 waiver wire. Let's go. Now, the waiver wire this week is really slim. Wasn't too many big injuries. There's not too many handcuffs you want to go and grab that you're going to spend a lot of your fab on. A lot of these players are someone you're picking up for the long run, for the end of the season. But I do have a handful of players that you can slide into your flex spot if you need a spot start. So let's start with the running backs. You got coming out of Miami, you got Devon Achane, and don't forget about Jeff Wilson. Obviously, if you need a spot start, go ahead and grab Achane. He really shouldn't be on your waiver wire on most leagues, but just take a peek, see if he's there. Don't forget about Jeff Wilson. He's coming back, so it's going to be a three-headed monster. Obviously, they like Bolster. They're not getting rid of him. They like Achane. Jeff Wilson, once he gets into the mix, he's going to get a lot of the passing down works. So it's really, it's really just a hit or miss. You obviously do want a piece of this offense, and eventually, I hate to say it, someone's going to get hurt. Someone's going to get left out of the rotation, so you really just want to pick your poison. You want to grab a piece of this offense. If I had to put a percentage of my fab on Achane, you really shouldn't really be spending any more than maybe 10 to 15%. Jeff Wilson, you could probably pick up free, throw him on your IR slide. The Ravens running backs, now this is a straight up break glass last, case scenario. You need a spot start for the week. You got Kenyon Drake and you got Melvin Gordon, who both should be on the waiver wire, or you could really pick up between $2 and $3 of your fab. Gus Edwards just hurt. Obviously, J.K. Dobbins just hurt for the year. So, someone's going to get work in this offense. This is a rushing offense. Lamar Jackson is still the running back one in this offense for the most part, but they are going to get some goal line work. So, once again, if you need a spot start, you need someone who's just not going to goose you. I'm not saying these guys are going to go for 20 points, but I mean, anywhere between 5 to 10 points in a PPR setting and hope for the touchdown. You do have the Ravens running backs. Once again, Melvin Gordon and Kenyon Drake. I also want to pick up Tajay Spears. He really shouldn't be on the waiver wire at all, but once again, take a peek and see if he's there. It looks like the cliffhanger has finally came to a spot with Derrick Henry, and that could be because of the injury, or it could just be terrible offense. Brian Tannehill has not been getting done. The offense looks terrible. The offensive line looks terrible. Derrick Henry looks terrible. These next 2 or 3 games is going to be really important for Tennessee Titans. Are they going to fold up shop, or are they going to try and push through? If they decide to fold up shop and start the rebuild, you could be seeing a lot of Tajay Spears. I would throw maybe once again, 5% of my fab, 5 to 10%, just because he's not a spot star. You really can't feel comfortable throwing him in his lineup, but he's there for the long run for the full season. And last but not least, out of the running backs, Rico Dowdle of the Dallas Cowboys. He is obviously the handcuff to Tony Pollard. Rico isn't a guy you can throw in your lineup, but he's the ultimate handcuff to Tony Pollard. We see the work that he's getting, and Rico has some juice. He has some explosiveness. So if Tony Pollard does go, you can feel comfortable putting Rico in your flex spot. I would throw a couple bucks at him. Once again, this is a season-long pickup. This is not someone you're going to want to start on a week-to-week basis at this time. Let's move on to the wide receivers. Obviously, Mike Williams tore his ACL and is out for the season. So that offense is generating points through Keenan Allen. Austin Eckler is going to be coming back. He should be back this week, if not next week. But Justin Herbert is putting the ball in the air, and we assume that with the new acquisition of the offensive coordinator, Kellen Moore. So obviously, a lot of people are going to run towards Quentin Johnson, but I do think that Josh Palmer is also someone you need to be looking to pick up. Quentin Johnson is someone you're going to pick up if you're looking for a season long. If you need a spot start this week, if you, for instance, were someone who is playing Mike Williams in your lineup, I would try to grab Josh Palmer. I would feel comfortable. If you need the spot start and you need Josh Palmer, I would feel comfortable throwing anywhere between 15 to 20% of your fab. Once again, he's a spot start and he's going to be lining up in 2 wide receiver sets next to Keenan Allen. Quentin Johnson is going to take a little time to get into the offense and see what he can do, but he's still, still going to be available in most leagues. Picked up and then dropped, he should be available. You could throw anywhere between $2 and $3 a fab, maybe $5 at the most. Once again, this is a season-long prop, and you never know. If Josh Palmer does pretty good, I don't see him giving him that spot to Quentin Johnson. You got the Carolina receivers, Adam Thielen and DJ Chark. I'm not saying either one is, Devontae Adams or Jamar Chase by any means, but this offense is going to be down a lot. They're constantly playing from behind, so they constantly have to throw the ball. So, once again, Adam Thielen, he's looking pretty good. He's not I will say that I don't think he's going to be there for you in your championship round if you get there. If you're playing Adam Thielen, you're probably not making it to your championship round. Let's be honest. But if you once again, if you need a spot start in the flex, I think Adam Thielen can be there for you, and he can give 7 to 10 points. He won't skunk you. And once again, Bryce Young should be back this week. He does trust Adam Thielen. If not, it's Andy Dalton. And if Andy Dalton, you can definitely feel comfortable starting Adam Thielen. DJ Chark is another one who's rising on my list. He's getting the trust of the offense and he's getting healthy. So once again, if you need a spot start, break glass. You just want to make sure you don't get a zero in your lineup. You can feel comfortable grabbing these wide receivers. Again, I would throw maybe, a couple bucks at them. I'm not breaking the bank on these guys at the wide receiver position. Josh Downs coming out of the Indianapolis Colts. He's quickly rising as a wide receiver 2, opposite Michael Pittman. Anthony Richardson loves him. Gardner Minshew loves him. The offense loves him. The offensive coordinator loves him. He's getting the trust of his offensive coordinator. He's going to be playing on all wide receiver 2 sets. So I would feel comfortable putting, $10 to $11 as far as fab on him. He's going to be there for the season long, and you can start him right away. Jonathan Taylor's coming back, presumably, within the next few weeks. The offense should be a lot better. The defense is actually pretty good, so this is a team to watch out for the future. Marvin Mims, I'm going to treat him like the Gabe Davis light. You can insert him into your lineup. It's possible. It's possible he can have an explosive game. It's possible he can give you a zero. That's a chance you're going to take with Marvin Mims. He's getting anywhere between 3 to 5 targets a game, but he's averaging 20 yards down the field. So his explosiveness is there, but once again, you take the volatility of getting that zero. So that's a chance you take with Marvin Mims, but he's worth a pickup. If Cortland Sutton or Jerry Jeudy goes down, Marvin Mims' playtime will increase, and he'll be a complete value. Romeo Doubs is another player that I'm looking at. Christian Watson's hammy he's still nursing the hammy, so I don't know if he's coming back this week, but even if he does, he's still going to play on all wide receiver sets, and he's Jordan Love's #1 target right now. When Christian Watson comes back, who's to say that Christian Watson is a #1 target? He's already built the rapport with Jordan Love, so I do want him in my lineups. I feel comfortable grabbing him anywhere between $9 and $10 a fab. 10%, wouldn't waste too much of it. And last but not least, let's talk about the Houston wide receivers. Same thing as the Carolina. Their defense is putting them in positions where they need to throw the ball constantly. So Nico Collins is probably rostered on most rosters. Tank Dell and Robert Woods. Either one of those guys I feel comfortable spending anywhere between $5 and $10 a fab if I need to put him in my flex. Depending on the matchup, they can give you anywhere between 10 and 15 points. CJ Stroud is definitely making a case for Offensive Rookie of the Year through these first 3 weeks, and I'm liking where the offense is going. They can't run the ball at all. The rushing is abysmal, so they're going to have to throw the ball. Once again, Take Dell, Nico Collins, Robert Woods. I would feel comfortable spending anywhere between 5 and 10% of my fab on these Houston wide receivers. Tight ends is ugly. Tight ends is going to be ugly every single year, but let's take a look at it. Kyle Pitts probably wasn't dropped. He probably won't be there, but definitely take a look. A lot of people gave up on him. A lot of people drafted him in hopes to be better than last year. He wet the bed last year, and he's wetting the bed this year again. So a lot of people dropped him. Take a look for Kyle Pitts. And then you got the trio of rookie tight ends, Luke Musgrave, Sam Laporta, Jake Ferguson. Sam Laporta is making a case to be the #2 option in Jared Goff's offense, of this Lions offense, which is a high-powered offense. Obviously, Amon-Ra is not going to get replaced as the wide receiver 1, but, you got Josh Reynolds. You got guys who's been there for a while and who's just, we know what they are. Sam Laporta is giving exciting explosiveness to the offense, and Jared Goff is trusting him. I would feel comfortable spending anywhere between $10 and $15 on Sam Laporta. With the tight end landscape as it is, you need someone who's not going to give you any zeros. Same thing with Luke Musgrave and Jake Ferguson. These guys are becoming favorites to their quarterback, and in the tight end position, you don't want a zero. That's what obviously, you have a positional advantage if you have Travis Kelce, Mark Andrews. Those guys can go for 20 plus, but there's not many tight ends that are going to give you 20 plus on a week-to-week basis. What you're hoping is to get 5 to 10 points from your tight end, and you want to for sure not get a goose egg in that tight end spot. These guys can make it happen. I feel comfortable spending, like I said, anywhere between 5 to 10% of your fab on these tight ends. Now, streaming quarterback this week's. A lot of people, obviously, if you have the top guys, you don't need any streaming options. But some people play the stream position. So let's look at these quarterbacks. Justin Fields, Kenny Pickett, and Jameis Winston. Justin Fields, once again, he's probably not on your waiver wire, but a lot of people have dropped him. So you want to take a look at him and see if maybe, he's getting his groove back. He might be there. He also gets Denver this week, which just gave up a 70-point blowout to the Miami Dolphins. So they can be scored on. Kenny Pickett, He's not Joe Montana by any means. They have athletes all around the field for these guys, other than the running back position, unless we're talking Jaron Warren. Najee Harris is the opposite of explosive. But the wide receiver position, you got Calvin Austin, you got Allen Robinson, Deontay Jackson is going to be coming back. You got George Pickens, you got athletes all around the field around Kenny Pickens. The defense is top half the league right now, so they're not really forced to throw the ball a lot of the times, but they can't trust the run game, and they also get Houston this week. So Kenny Pickens is a smash start in the streaming position. And last but not least, Jameis Winston. Obviously, Carter Carr is week to week. If he comes back next week, then this doesn't really matter. But he's there if you need him. He has, I think the offense is even better this year than it was last year. Alvin Kamara is going to be coming back, and he gets a revenge week in Tampa Bay this week. Jameis Winston, I would feel comfortable streaming him in week 4. And last but not least, let's talk about the defenses. There's 2 defenses I would look to pick up, and that's Minnesota against Carolina and Kansas City against the Jets. If Andy Dalton's playing for Carolina, then this take doesn't really matter, but Bryce Young should be coming back. Rookie quarterback. Anytime you can play a rookie quarterback, you'll feel comfortable playing this defense, and I think this is a must-win game for the Vikings in week 4. If you go 0-4, you can pretty much kiss your playoffs hopes goodbye. You can kiss Kirk Cousins goodbye. You don't know what he might get traded at the deadline if they decide to go 0-4 and they decide to just break everything apart. I don't see that happening, but once again, I do see this as a must-win game for Minnesota. Going against a rookie quarterback, I'll take it as my streaming option. And then Kansas City against the Jets. I mean, what else more do I need to say? It's the Jets. Thanks for tuning in to today's video. Remember, subscribe to see more content from me and everyone here at Just in Time Media.